only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okie folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, and like I say, we're going to be talking about gardening, talking about it. Some of you already been out there and done everything going to for the day and headed back in. Some of you hadn't really thought about it. You really ought to think twice because, folks, this is not the best gardening weather. Our friends up north in Minnesota and northern Illinois and all that, they have to garden in the summertime because it's too cold in the winter. We have to garden in the spring and the fall. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, a whole lot of stuff. A lot of it very positive, but there's some bad things going on that's bothering people, whether it's bugs or blights or diseases or just too hot or needing to water or plants with whatever. If you got something you want to talk about, ask about, complain about, or just sort of shoot the breeze with a guy who cares, but it's not going to try to talk you anything, this is your chance. Mississippi Public Broadcasting gives us this opportunity every week, and it's a toll-free program, so you want to give us a call. It's toll-free, 1-877-MPB-RING. How'd I do on that, Java?
I think you did okay, man.
So far, so good. Not so bad. Anyway, there's I've been trying to keep up with stuff that's going on. I know it's been really, really hot, but it looks like some folks have gotten a pretty good bit of rain. I mean, some heavy rain, Java, and some folks ain't got nothing. How about you?
No, we didn't really get anything, but I was sitting outside last night, maybe about 10 o'clock, 10:30. That's the only time you can really enjoy the outside. But yeah, it was. I could see some storm clouds off in the distance, so somebody got some rain, but not my backyard.
I hope that some of it got to my yard there in Jackson because I'm gone for a good bit of time in the summer and a good bit of time in the winter because I live part of the time in England, part of the time in Mississippi. But my Mississippi garden, my little cabin and my cottage garden, and my all my container plants and my herbs and my vegetables, all like that, they're basically on their own. When I'm not there, nobody comes over and waters, nobody covers anything up in the winter. So until I get back early next month, really pretty soon, I'm hoping that everything has a chance to get at least a good soaking every now and then. But one of the things I've done, Java, is over the years, I've found stuff that really doesn't need a bunch of care. It's not because I'm smart or because I'm thinking ahead. It's because I'm lazy. And over the years, I figured if it needs a bunch of stuff done, pruning or spraying or watering, I just don't grow it because my life is, I love gardening, I love plants, but it ain't my life, it's my hobby. So how's y'all's garden looking?
It's looking pitiful, but I really do appreciate how you always bring that up, Felder, because I look at it as you set yourself up for success. You know you're not going to be around, so why put a bunch of flowers and stuff out that may look good for a while when you're there to tend to them, but when you come back, you're going to be like, oh, my flowers didn't hold up. No, you set yourself up for success.
I compare. It's a psychological thing, also, Java. I've had dogs all my life. A man ain't a man without a dog. I'm sorry, you cat people. I love cats too, but a guy needs something that's dumber than he is and looks up to him. And I've always had a dog, but I can't have one now since my last one, since old Rusty passed away. Because I'm gone, I come and go a lot, and dogs just don't get it. Plants don't get it, and dogs ain't going to take care of themselves while I'm gone. So anyway, it's just one of those little heartbreaking things. So luckily, I've got my succulents and my cactus and things that are going to be there wagging their fronds when I get back. But hey, by the way, Java, let me throw something out that Liz Gill, producer Liz Gill, shared with us. Her daughter works at she's a librarian at Hines Community College in Raymond, and let's see if we can get John C. to put up picture number 1. This is the picture forwarded to me by Liz Gill, and see if he's got that up there. Picture number 1. Looks like a quilt, but it's a miniature quilt.
Yeah, and it used one of our let's get dirty scarves or handkerchiefs that we would always pass out, supporting the Gestalt Gardener, supporting the show.
Yeah, this is it's a traveling exhibit, a special exhibit. It's in the Marie Hall excuse me, Marie Hull. I knew Marie Hull. Marie Hull Gallery at Hines Community College on the Raymond campus. There's a group called the Southern Fiber Arts, and back in 2015, they started creating art pieces that are beyond the boundaries of what we call traditional quilts. The ladies up in the Delta who do fantastic quilts. But this one is inspired by a member, Leanna Green's Mississippi quilt. It's a challenge created of getting members to do 18 inch by 20 inch miniature Mississippi themed quilts. And the Mississippi Quilt Challenger for this, an artist named Elaine Hilburn Walsner did one featuring the Gestalt Gardener neckerchief and MPB. And on it says, when in Mississippi, tune in to Think Radio. Anyway, I really appreciate her doing that. I'm honored. MPB is honored. But if you'd like to see folks, if you want to go to use the Mississippi Quilt exhibit, traveling exhibit, it's in Hines Community College in Raymond, Marie Hull Gallery, and it's open until September the 9th. So you got plenty of time to get out there. Beautiful drive out in the country, too. So anyway, we appreciate that, Elaine, for honoring us this way.
Yeah, I honestly kind of forgot that we used to pass those out. They were really sought after too. A green Gestalt Gardener bandana. We may need to bring them back, but that was very creative of Elaine to do that. So that was nice.
Well, I enlarged the picture and the detail. I mean, this is quilting, but it's done by hand and very artistic. Anyway, a lot of really good quilt. I'm a quilt guy, Java. I've got a little cabin. I got a little bed in my little cabin. I always have a Mississippi made quilt. The last one I got is from the ladies up in Phooey. I forgot the name of the little town in the Delta. It's in Coahoma County. It's where the blues started.
What are you talking about?
Where there's a little town up in the Delta where the blues are said to have started. And there's a group of ladies there who make quilts, and they're always at the Craftsman Guild and all like that. Anyway, I got a Mississippi Delta made quilt on my bed right now. So, you gonna let me know if we get some calls?
Yeah, we actually got one that just came through. We have our new producer here, Adam McWilliams. He's on the phone, getting everybody lined up today. And caller number one, let's go to Pascagoula and talk with Dewan.
Dewan, what's going on down on the Gulf Coast? What's going on in the pass?
Hot, smoking hot.
Yeah,
you got to try it, George. But right now, fella, I'd like to know about how to plant sugar cane and when to plant sugar cane. I don't know who to ask around here. All these city boys around here, they don't know anything.
Well, actually, the county extension office there has got some folks who know a good bit about it. Here's the deal. Sugar cane is a type of grass. It's like a bamboo. And down on the Gulf Coast, you may be able to keep it outside all year, but mostly what they do is when they harvest some of the canes, they come into sections 4, 5, 6 feet long, and they store them until spring, and they plant them in rows side by side. They plant like a double row of them, kind of overlapping, so you don't have just one cane in there. But it's planted in the spring, and at every little joint along that sugar cane, it sprouts a plant, and that's how it grows. So if you want to grow some, you're going to need to find some, maybe at a farmer's market, or call the county extension office. They may know somebody's got some. And if you can find some stems of sugar cane and keep them from freezing over the wintertime, you lay them down flat, cover them with some dirt in the spring, and they'll sprout in a long, skinny row about the same size as your cane. Then give it a little fertilizer, because they're heavy feeder, just like regular corn. And if you'll fertilize them, water them through the summertime, cut them down about this time of year, September, October is probably the best time.
Well, okay, thank you. That's a lot of help, because I was lost. I was in the dark. Totally in the dark on that.
It looks sort of like, when you see a sugar cane field, it looks sort of like a cornfield, because they grow up in tall, skinny thing with leaves like that, and they're grown in rows. So anyway, if you can get your hands on some sugar cane, you can plant it next spring.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, appreciate it.
I love your show.
I didn't want to get into all the different kinds. They got different kinds of sugar cane. Some is better for fresh eating. Some is real juicy. Some stores better over the winter. But at the state fair, they always have, Alcorn always has a real nice exhibit where they make sugar cane syrup. And you can get them watching where they run it through the crusher and they cook it down, the big long cookers. And then you can actually bring your own jugs or buy their own jugs and fill it up with homemade fresh sugar cane syrup.
Yeah, shout out to Alcorn, HBCU this morning.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Also, a lot of people don't realize, but Alcorn is a land grant university, just like Mississippi State, and they're sister universities, and they have an extension service too. I used to work with their horticulturists there in Hinds County. I was with this MSU. We shared offices because we're the same organization, just two different universities. So like LSU and Alcorn have extension. Well, not all. LSU and Auburn have similar programs. Well, MSU and Alcorn, we share same offices.
See, the only difference between LSU and Auburn is MSU and Alcorn, they don't often play football against each other.
No, I'd love to see it. I mean, I used to play in an MSU band. Alcorn's got, they got a good band too, but ain't nothing like the Boom. Sorry.
Yeah, that is the truth. Felder, let's go ahead and take our first break of the hour, and then we got some calls getting lined up, so we can come back.
All righty. When we come back, I've got, we talk a little bit about growing lettuce. A lot of people, I'm seeing the news about all the worries about fresh produce coming out of Mexico and all like that. Well, I'm going to show I've actually started some lettuce myself, and it comes up so quick that I'm going to be able to eat it before I come back in just a couple, 3 weeks. So anyway, we're going to talk about growing your own lettuce. We're going to talk about flower arranging, planting stuff for fall, whatever you want to talk about. We're going to take a little break and come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve. Literally, with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
All righty, folks. Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. You folks have got no idea what a struggle it is for Java to juggle me on the Zoom thing. Because I got all these screens and buttons and stuff, and I don't want to touch anything because I'm afraid I'm gonna mess something up.
No, it's a live production, and as I do like live, people have no idea about the behind the scenes.
No, they don't. They don't. We got any calls?
Yeah, let's stay on the coast. We just left Pascagoula. Let's go to Biloxi and talk with Walt.
Good morning, Walt. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. I have a beautiful yard with St. Augustine grass, and it's infested with Virginia buttonweed.
Oh,
kind
boy.
of a little weed with small white flowers and a very coarse stem that goes down to the roots. What's the best way to control that?
I'm real familiar with it, Virginia. But by the way, it's a native plant and it's edible. I'm just throwing that out. If you can't beat it, eat it. But it's a tough one. And here's the deal: it'll grow in shade also. And what's good for St. Augustine is good for buttonweed. The really good news is it really doesn't compete that much. If you'll raise your mower, I sound like a broken record on this, Walter. If you'll just raise your mower to the high setting, you'll have such thick, healthy St. Augustine. It doesn't look like a carpet because it's not a carpet. But if you raise your mower and give your grass just a little fertilizer in the spring, not a bunch, and if you go at least 3 or 4 weeks without a rain, give it a good soaking, this will make your St. Augustine so healthy and thick that it'll outcompete anything else. There are some herbicides that'll kill Virginia creeper without killing St. Augustine. I can't remember the brands because since I retired, I don't keep up with that. But there are some that'll control Virginia creeper without killing, not Virginia creeper, Virginia buttonweed without hurting your St. Augustine if you don't spray it too strong. A couple of light sprays a couple of weeks apart is better than one heavy spray, which can damage your grass. And also, the thicker and healthier your grass is, the more it can withstand the chemotherapy, because that's what herbicide is chemotherapy. So if I just raise your mower for a couple of weeks, get your grass as thick as you can, and by then, I will actually probably over the next couple of hours, and certainly by next week, I'll figure out a couple of products that'll control it. Main thing is what will control broadleaf weeds without hurting St. Augustine. So when you go to a garden center, you want a weed killer that will kill broadleaf weeds and can still be used on St. Augustine. A couple of light applications of that, a couple of weeks apart, it'll get most of it. But if you don't have good thick grass, guess what's going to come right back in the thin areas? More Virginia buttonweed from seed. That's just the way those things grow. They grow better from seed than grass grows. So thicken your grass up, then try getting rid of the weed.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Okay. If you want to get around to it, if you call the county extension office, they have a list of things. I tell you what, go online, go to MSU Cares CARES.com. That's the Mississippi State Extension Service, and in the search box, put Virginia buttonweed, and it'll take you to publications that deal exclusively with how to control it and what you can use on different grasses. That'll get it right to you.
Okay, excellent advice. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Good luck on it. Okay. Java, not many people mention this, but using herbicides on grass, you're trying to kill the weeds without killing the grass. That's chemotherapy. And repeated light applications are always better because you don't kill the patient while you're getting rid of the problem.
Yeah, that's a strong comparison, though. Chemotherapy.
Yeah,
so
it's exactly what it is, though. And can't sugarcoat it. That's just exactly what it is. So, do we get more phone calls?
Not yet. Adam's back there. He's lonely. He needs some help. Y'all 1-877-672-7464, 1-877-MPB ring for your questions. I do want to hop over to YouTube because our YouTube chat is always active, and say good morning to Alan. Good morning to Margie. Good morning to Stuart, checking in. And we got some other people, Debbie and W User 333. Come on, get a better screen name.
So some folks may not even know what you're talking about, Java, because if you're listening on your radio or online, you may not know that you can actually watch this, see the pictures that we're showing live or anytime 24/7 archived by going to YouTube and in the search box type Gestalt Gardener. Gestalt Gardener, start with the GES and take it from there. Gestalt Gardener means the whole hog. Gestalt means everything, all of it together, all your past experiences, what your neighbors think, all this kind of stuff. We kind of get together and come up with what's best for you. By the way, Java, I don't know if you can, I'm gonna hold this up. I got some lettuce. Can you see these seeds? Or packets I've got?
You got lettuce, say salad bowl mix. I saw some kale in there, some wild rocket.
Some kale. Yep, got kale and all sorts of stuff. I started some seeds today because everybody's worried about what you eat, and whoever picked it, did they wash their hands or whatever, especially with all the news right now about tainted stuff. And might want to emphasize to some folks that not all the lettuce and not all the produce is tainted. There is one big company that sells under a lot of different brands, and there's some problems with that. But there's a lot of locally smaller producers that have very good, safe food. But if you want to try growing your own salad green, it's really, really easy. Matter of fact, let's put up picture number 2 and see if John C. is still awake back there. John C. is our live stream producer this morning. There you go. These are 4 different kinds of lettuce. If you're not on YouTube or mpbonline.org on the live stream, I have some red lettuce, some curly lettuce, some sort of golden lettuce, some green lettuce. What I do is I take different kinds of lettuce, Java, and I mix their seeds together. And the seeds are really, really, really small. So what I do is I put them in my hand and I sprinkle them very lightly over some potting soil. Let's put up picture number 3 and you'll see my setup. Picture number 3 is what I did just this morning. I got a pot full of potting soil. I've moistened it ahead of time. I've got my little watering can and all that. And what I do in picture number 4, this is the last one I'll show of this. Picture number 4, I put the lettuce seed in my hand and just sprinkle a little pinch of it, a pinch of mixed seeds, very lightly all over this potting soil, and I wet it down. And let me throw out a plant physiology term, Java: photoblastic.
Photoblastic.
Photoblastic. That means the seeds they need light to germinate. So lettuce seed, like a lot of seeds, like zinnia seeds, if you bury zinnia seeds or you bury lettuce seed, they don't sprout as well. They like to be on top of the ground. So what I do is I moisten my soil, I sprinkle it over there, I barely wet it down just to get the seeds started. And within a week, maybe 8-9 days, it'll start sprouting. And within a couple of weeks, I'll be eating that stuff. And the trick is you mix up 2 or 3, 4 different kinds of lettuce seed, and you start a nice pot or 2 of them every couple of weeks. Just a little small pot, a shallow, a pot saucer. Doesn't have to. They don't have deep roots. You can do it in a big saucer. Like a bird bath full of lettuces. There you go. Anyway, and once you start harvesting it, you can get 2 or 3 cuttings off of it. And by the time it's gone, you've got the other ones coming along. So you can actually have fresh lettuces, fresh salads from now up until a hard freeze by just starting a few in a pot every now and then. And I think lettuces are just real, real pretty. Main thing is sprinkle the lettuce seed real thin onto some moist potting soil, and then don't bury them. Just wet them down till every day or so till they sprout. And you don't need to remember photoblastic, but just remember some seeds like lettuces and zinnias, they don't need to be planted. Just sprinkle on the ground, let the water do the rest.
And then when they come up, just get you some ranch or some vinegar, some Thousand Island.
yeah, some comeback.
There you go. Let's go back to the phones, man. Now, what you gonna say?
I'd like to. We need to find out from the foodie folks what comeback dressing is.
Well, I do know it started here in Jackson, so we'll have to see.
Okay, well, if we'd like to get some phone calls too. If you want to give us a call, it's toll free 1-877-MPB-RING, and we got a few little things. I've noticed some issues in gardens right now: insect diseases, yellowing leaves, wilted plants, and the main thing right now to keep in mind is it's hot out there and it's dry, but watering often is not the answer. If you water a lot, that can actually damage roots. So the idea is to kind of work your dirt up around your shrubs or your flowers or whatever to make it nice and loose, not hard and crusted. Sprinkle some mulch, whether it's bark or pine straws, tree leaves, and that'll keep the ground shaded and keep the water from evaporating, and it'll keep the dirt nice and crumbly instead of packing down like it does in rain. And if you'll give your plants a good deep soaking every now and then, put the water down deep and let the top of the soil dry out. They may wilt a little bit in the heat, but as long as they perk up at night, you're okay. But a couple of good, slow, deep soaking every now and then is a whole lot better for plants than watering them every day. People are watering every day. I don't care what you're growing. If they're watering every day, that's too much. There's a problem there, and it ain't the plants. They need a good soaking and then almost get dry between soakings. Just want to throw that out.
Now, Felder, you asked for some calls, and you shall receive.
Oh boy, let's do this.
The coast has been really active. We've been to Pascagoula, Biloxi. Let's go to Gulfport and let's talk with Keith.
Good morning, Keith. What's going on in Gulfport?
Hey, good morning. It's pretty sunny down here, Felder. It's hot, of course, but everything else is going right along. Just
Good.
wanted to get with you, and but congratulations on getting married. I didn't get to talk to you about that. The other thing is let Susan know that it was Earl's Court. She asked me when I talked to you guys here a while back where I'd seen Springsteen, and I think they tore it down, but it's Earl's Court.
I'll just make a note of that right now. And a lot of folks don't realize it. Yeah, my longtime Java, my partner Susan, we finally tied the knot. And I will say this, I'm an older guy, but her mother has been calling me her son-in-law all these years. so I finally did it right. Anyway, what's going on in your garden, man?
Well, what's happening is it's a new build home where they put the red clay down before they install the grass across the top of it. They put a light dressing on top of the clay, but the grass isn't really taking. And I'm wondering, can I get it to perk? Do I need to aerate it, or how to solve that problem?
Well, this is interesting, but decades ago, I'm talking about probably 30 years ago, we did an experiment where I was helping a friend get a landscape started, and she had a little small lawn area, just like a throw rug, and we cut it in half, two halves of a circle, and one half we tilled up, other half we just left like it was. We planted grass on both sides, and what determines whether it gets rooted quickly or not is how you water. Those roots can get into hard packed dirt, but the problem is water just sort of stands and beads up and then rolls off. And so if you'll just simply water twice instead of once, water it for a few minutes till it starts running or standing or running off, and then shut it off for 30 minutes, an hour, that sets the dirt up. Dirt is what they call hydrophobic. It sheds water at first. It'll sort of set it up and then come back a little while later and water a second time. It really soaks in. It soaks in. This is true of potting soil as well as just plain dirt. And then if you'll, give it till the top dries out before you do it again. You put the water down deep, let the top dry out a little bit. Those roots grow from their tip ends. They don't grow like pushing a straw through there. The tip ends will follow the water down. So water twice, not all the time. Don't keep it wet, and the grass it'll get started pretty quick. You can rent an aerator if you want to. It runs just like a lawnmower. Some punch holes in the ground, some pulls plugs out, and your lawnmower breaks them up. But if you'll just watch how you water, try to water it really good, and let the surface dry out between soakings. I think that'll do it.
Okay, well that sounds great. I appreciate your help. You take care.
Okay, appreciate it. And I'll pass that on about Earl's Court. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, Keith, for calling in. I promise for all of my people waiting on the cheesy tune, it's coming. But first, let's go to Clinton and talk with Kay.
Good morning, Kay. What's up in Western Hines County? Central Hines County.
Good morning. Yes. Luckily, we got a little bit of rain last night in Clinton.
A little bit, enough to just raise the humidity, or enough to really water?
I'm hoping that it's enough to really water. I don't even know. I don't have a rain gauge, but I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I need some advice on crepe myrtle. Have one that I love, a lavender crepe myrtle that's in full bloom now, and there's this little baby growing underneath that's real healthy, and I'd like to move it over the winter somewhere else, but it's connected to the root. It's like right under the crepe myrtle tree. Any advice?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's two ways that they sprout under the tree. Sometimes they drop seeds and they'll sprout. Some crepe myrtles are real bad about seeding themselves around. But sometimes they just sprout from the old roots. They're suckers. They don't really have their own roots. They're growing off of, like if you cut a plant down, it comes right back up. And it's not that easy to transplant those because it may just be growing off a big old gnarly root. So unless we, what I would do is when the ground gets a little bit, towards fall, when it's easier to dig, go out and dig a few of them up and see, dig them carefully and see if they're growing on their own roots, have any roots at all, or they're growing on a small root of the other tree. Then you can transplant those. But if they don't have any roots at all, transplant is not going to do any good. Luckily, you can make cuttings. You can make cuttings of those and pencil-sized cuttings in the spring. Take the cuttings in the winter, about the size of a pencil, and they'll bloom next summer on what grows next year. So, if the transplants don't take, you can always root cuttings in the winter.
Okay, that's helpful. Appreciate it. I will do that.
I wouldn't do anything right now unless you absolutely have to. You do not have to get out there and dig in this kind of dirt. It's not good for. Let's wait till fall.
Yep, right. I know. Okay, thanks so much, Felder.
All right, appreciate it. Just trying to help folks save a little sweat equity there, Java. Who we got?
Well, we're ready for our break. Our second break. Got too many screens open. So which cheesy tune do you want to go with right now?
I know, it's early enough for the day where we can start out still saying it's a beautiful day. Let's listen to my favorite version. This is from Oklahoma, but my favorite version of this song, "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," is, of course, Ray Charles. Nobody does it like Ray. So let's do that, and me and Java will come back with more of the Gestalt Gardener and a little bit some tips on stuff you can be doing, and also some interesting twists on how native plants can be used effectively as just plain old yard plants. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing, me and Java, and John C. and Marissa will be back right after this.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And John, before we got any further, I was reading something about some people were playing with this stuff called dihydrogen monoxide. with a lot of heat applied to it, apparently it can kill you. Hot dihydrogen monoxide.
What is that?
It's water, hot water.
Oh man! Oh wow!
They were making some tea and they spilled some hot water and they got burned. Somebody said hot water can hurt you. What is water? It's dihydrogen monoxide. Anyway, everything's a chemical. Hey, before we go any further, let's jump over to YouTube to YouTube. See what's going on.
Yeah, let's jump over to YooHooVille and YouTube. Our chat is always active, so appreciate everybody for jumping in. We had Rita Wilson join from Olive Branch. I mentioned Alan earlier, but he wanted us to know that he's getting lots of butter beans and okra from his garden in Virginia. And let's see, we got Debbie, who wants us to also remember the wild birds during this hot season. The wild birds need water during this hot, dry weather. She uses 2 plastic potted plant saucers filled with fresh water daily, and she gets a steady stream of birds visiting them to drink and bathe.
Let me jump in on that. There's a lot, also bees and wasps need water, and bees are pollinators, and wasps, believe it or not, they're also pollinators, but they eat a lot of critters in the garden, and they're thirsty. If you put out some big saucers, just go to a garden center, big box store, and get some of these biggest pot saucers and put them out there. If you put a little small pile of rocks in the middle or some rocks around the edge, bees and wasps and butterflies, they can't drink out of just plain. They got to land on something and sort of slurp it up a little bit. So if you put out a big saucer, again, with just a little small pile of gravel or something there, you'll have a lot of butterflies and bees there too. So that's a really good tip. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. Now we do got a neat question. Let's see. Wondering if there are any beneficial use to hydrogen peroxide in my vegetable garden.
There is, and I don't remember all the details. The hydrogen peroxide can actually aerate soil. You pour it around soil and it sort of bubbles and aerates the soil. I don't know that there's there's not a standard use for it. I'm gonna have to do a little research over the next break. I'll do a little quick thing on that, find out if there's anything we should routinely use it for. But I know it doesn't really hurt anything, and I know that because you can brush your teeth with it if you want to. But I don't know anything specific thing. Good question. Now it's making me think.
Now I wonder if this is one of those maybe garden myths, Maybe
No. That's a good question, because it seems like I'm always bashing all these kind of things. There are some uses for it. I just don't remember specifically what. I just don't remember. I mean, I keep some, but I use it to pour over my cuts and all when I come in from gardening.
Okay.
Good question. I'll see what I can find out. Or maybe somebody who knows about it will call up and help us all out.
Yeah, you can call us up 1-877-MPB-RING, 1-877-672-7464 if you know about using hydrogen peroxide in your garden or in your vegetable garden. But one other question from YouTube, and it's from Breeze, says about a week ago, my redbud tree had almost half of the leaves facing the sun turn light brown. I'm guessing it was from direct sunlight on a 100-degree day. Does that sound about right?
It sort of does. Dogwood, redbud. I think you said redbuds. They could take full sun. They're going to find they do better in the light shade, but they could take full sun. If they scorch like that pretty quickly, I'm going to assume it's not just the sun, but also a lack of water. The heat and the sun and a lack of water combination can cause a lot of plants to kind of go off color. We're seeing a lot of that right now, and it's mostly just because of the combination. So I know it's not practical to water a tree, especially even a small tree like a redbud or a dogwood or althea. But it's a really good idea to give them it's not just a good idea, it's a lifesaver to give them a good, slow, deep soaking at least once a month. Every 3 or 4 weeks would be ideal. More than once a week. If you're watering trees and shrubs more than once a week, or even the lawn, that's too much. I know this as a fact, that grass doesn't need a good soaking more than once every week or two if it's healthy. So if you'll give your trees and shrubs a good soaking at least every 3 or 4 weeks, just run the hose. If it starts to stand or run off, turn it off for a little while, come back and water a second time. If you can put the water down deep, that helps a lot. But I'm suspecting it's a combination of heat and drought. And those leaves are just losing moisture quicker than can be replaced. I think that's all it is.
Now, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate right now, because a couple callers ago you talked about not overwatering. Like, how do you know you hit that line? Because it is a lot of heat and drought right now.
Yeah.
But you don't want to overwater and get that root rot. Like, how do you know you've done enough?
That's a good question. There's not an easy answer. So what I do is I sometimes split horticulture, the science of soil percolation, and all this that I've learned in soils and percolation rates and all that kind of stuff, versus just don't do anything. Look around, there's plants growing in cemeteries and they seem to be doing okay. So somewhere between cemetery, not doing anything, and overdoing stuff like production-oriented people do is about right. So it really depends on the size of the plant, what kind of soil you've got, how often you water. But my general rule of thumb, no matter what it is, whether it's a little pot or whether it's a shrub bed, when you do water good and deep, 2 or 3 times, a few minutes apart, and then let the top of that, whatever it is, dry out an inch or 2 or 3 before you do it again. So the key is water really, really deep, and then let it start to get dry before you do it again. And that pretty well covers. It's not you can't put it on your calendar. You just got to go by the season, and that'll pretty well cover it.
Okay. Felder, let's take a quick break. We got some phone calls coming through. See if we can line them up before the end of this, the end of the hour.
All right. While we're doing that, let me mention this. We'll talk about pub talk when we come back. Something really, really funny happened in our pub the other day. I'm not a heavy drinker, folks. Don't misread me. I like a nice pint of real ale, but I'm not a lush. But there's some fun stuff that goes when I get together with my mates at the pub down at the local. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener right after this.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Hampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back, folks. Horticulturalist Felder. Let's see if John C. is awake back there. John C., can you put up picture number 7, please, sir? and see if he's paying attention. He and Marissa, a lot of times, they're back there laughing and joking.
They do. They have a good. I can say they do have a good time on this show.
That's good. That's good. This is a picture, folks, of a native plant called cherry laurel, and I want to show you something that's important to look at. You see, it's got a lot of green leaves. This is a picture of just a twig with a bunch of leaves on it. The leaves on the end are nice and green, but the older leaves have turned yellow. And this is really freaking a lot of people out because they're seeing all over their gardenias and their trees and their shrubs, they're seeing a lot of yellow leaves, and it looks like the plants are dying. That's last year's leaves that are starting to shed naturally, whether they turn brown or yellow or whatever. But if you're seeing a lot of yellow leaves on your trees and shrubs, take a close look, and if there's older leaves, that's just normal leaf shed. It's not a problem. As long as the ends of the branches have got plenty of green leaves left on them, the plants are good. Still be a good idea to give them a soaking because it is hot and dry out there, and they can't go in and get a drink of water like you can. But anyway, ends of the leaves nice and green, not anything to worry about. And Joe, before we take any calls, let me share something that happened in my pub this past week. We had a birthday celebration. I've got some regular friends in my local in Jackson and my local over here in Lancashire. Anyway, we had a birthday bash, and a dozen or so of us guys got on a train and went to a village about an hour away that's known for its real ale. And we did a pub crawl, Java.
Okay.
Okay, now don't get me wrong. In England, they sell and drink beer by the full pint. I get a half a pint. You can they'll sell you and actually just charge half a pint. So over about 6.5 hours and 6 pubs, I only had the total of about 3 beers. Okay, so it's not like I'm a lush. I could still make it back to the train. And a matter of fact, there was an alarm went off on our phones. Have you been in a place where your phone just gives this alarm?
Yeah, like an emergency alert or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this went on everybody's phone, and the whole pub went off at one time, and they're looking around. This is the 1700s pub, and it turned out some of them were thinking, well, it's not a tornado. We don't have tornadoes here. We don't have a tsunami because we're too far inland. So they figured out, well, maybe it's an atomic attack. Maybe it's a nuclear attack.
Yeah.
And so you know what they do? Classic English people. They said, "Quick, bring us another round of beer."
If we gotta go, we gonna go out the way we want
That's
to.
right. That's right. I'm gonna put 2 packs of sugar in my coffee. Anyway, they all agreed. If this is a nuclear attack, it was a hot weather alert. Okay, just because in England they have railways everywhere. If the rails get hot, they expand. You can have derailments. So that's all it was. But we didn't know that. We didn't know it was a hot weather. We just said, okay, quick, get us another beer. The world's coming to an end.
That's crazy.
Anyway, most British thing ever.
But that's like one of my favorite movies, A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and that's how the movie starts. They go to a pub, and he's like, "Drink up." He was like, "Why am I drinking? It's like 10 o'clock in the morning." He's like, "Because in 30 minutes, the world's going to end."
I think a man's got to believe in something. I believe I'll have another pint. Anyway, let's put up 2 more pictures. I know we're getting towards the end of the hour. Put up picture number 5. This is something that's in my garden this past year. I thought it was kind of interesting. I was cleaning up and I found an old cola bottle, and I stood it up, and it had a little frog living in it. Wherever it takes to get something cool to drink, even frogs gonna do that. Well, that's a classic garden frog. Well, let me show you what a flower frog is. We've talked about this before. It's been a long time. Put up picture number 6. While I was doing that, I've got a little bouquet here. It's a little boutonniere. You pin it to your lapel. That's a little boutonniere type thing. I've got it in a jar of water to make it last longer. But a flower frog is one of those little quintessential things. Picture number 6. There's several different kinds of frogs. I wrote an article for Mississippi for the newspapers here in Mississippi this past week. Flower frogs are either little ceramic things with holes in them, or they're wire baskets, or they got look like a little lead base with a lot of little needle-like
those are just call them spikes,
you put them in a vase and you can stick, and they hold flowers upright. So this is called a flower frog. If you go online and look for it, the florist shops sell them, but they're really cool little devices that if you got a little vase in your house, you can go out in the yard just to get away from stuff. There's so much crazy stuff going on right now. If you'll just get out, sit down, look at the butterflies, follow a bee from flower to flower, just get whatever it takes to get away from doom scrolling and the news and stuff. While you're out there, grab you a flower or two, a couple of stems and some leaves, maybe a dried grass, and go in and stick them in a flower frog and make a little bouquet. All it takes is 2 or 3 flowers, a little bit of foliage, and maybe some wispy stuff sticking up to make it to bring your eye down into the composition, is what florists say. It's something spiky, something roundy, something frilly in a vase. And if you got a nice vase and a flower frog, you're more likely to have fresh flowers in the garden, so you could bring some of the garden in when it's too hot for you to go out. So there, flower frogs.
Yeah,
for mental stability.
And I can see the application, because if you just put some flowers in a vase, they often kind of just spread out, and you're just like, what's going on?
They look like my hair. As they say, it goes every which way.
There you go.
Anyway, it's been an interesting hour. I'm thinking that people, when it gets hotter, they're going to start coming in wanting to call. We're going to have another hour 2.
And Mikey from Mobile, please hold on.
Broadcasting. And so, John, we're going to take a little break, listen to some news, maybe get John C. to go and get a drink of water, and come back, and we're going to just have a good time. Got a whole hour left to talk about what's going on. Maybe you got some questions and just don't really feel like calling up an expert. Just call me and we'll just chat about it. I also want to find out if anybody knows anything about using hydrogen peroxide in the garden. We'll be back with more here on the Gestalt Gardener, Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Me and Java right after this.
The Measuring Show.
Since 1970, MPB has been enriching the lives of Mississippians.
Everything we do gives us the chance to grow and learn.
With your support, we are always there whenever and wherever you need us. Together through the years, together in the future. Please consider making a donation at mpbfoundation.org. MPB, your stories, our mission.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Folks, welcome back. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Welcome to Hour 2 of the Gestalt Gardener, a live presentation of Mississippi Public Broadcasting. We're glad you joined us. And for those of you who just tuned in, if you don't know about this, we are also live streaming. You can go to mpbonline.org and scroll around till you find the gardening, the radio stuff, or else go to YouTube and in the search box type Gestalt Gardener, starts with a G. And you can see me and Java and all the other stuff we'll be talking about. But before we go any further, though, we're here to talk with folks about what's going on in their gardens in real time. And let's go down to Mobile, Alabama. Good morning, Mikey. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. It's
Good.
It rained yesterday for the first time in a while.
Yay. Yay.
The weather's been crazy over here, Felder. Crazier than you probably even remember. And I'm probably even a little bit older than you, so I probably remember
Okay.
more.
First of all, I sat on an aircraft carrier during Vietnam to give you an idea how old I am. Anyways, what you got? What's up?
Yeah, the Kitty Hawk. I remember, man. I'm a French horn player. You played trumpet, cornet.
Doesn't matter. Let's get back to gardening. What's going on in your garden?
I
don't talk much about me. Let's keep it. As Java says, talk gardening, Felder.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead with your question, Mikey. I'm sorry. Go ahead with your question.
My question is regarding something that a relative that was a couple of generations before me called Chinese evergreen, but I've also heard it called Japanese evergreen. And it is a beautiful plant. It makes a bush or a tree or whatever, and it produces these things that look like berries initially, and then have another, like a grape, a small grape, and then have connected to it a little green, pea-looking thing. Are these toxic?
I don't know. I'd have to know what it is because, Japanese evergreen, Chinese evergreen, Japanese evergreen, that could be anything, including a potted plant I grow called Aglaonema, called Chinese evergreen. And there's so many conifers that are native to China and Japan that we grow. The arborvitaes, for example, they've got interesting, arborvitae have sort of a little roundish, bluish green, like a fruit that's got little spines on it. But there's all sorts of other Asian conifers. So I don't know what I couldn't even begin to guess. Need to have more information.
It doesn't produce as cones, but it sure looks like a conifer. Yeah.
No. Only some conifers produce cones. Some have little things that don't look like cones at all. They go by all sorts of weird names. But anyway, conifers are just a whole different class. Without knowing any more information, I can't even begin to guess. because there's so many
Okay.
wonderful plants that we use that come from Asia, from China and Japan. So we go by folk name. I just don't know.
This is one that I know you know a lot about, and that's why I'm asking just for, I've done everything I can to learn, and I have learned a lot about it, but because it goes all the way back to Native American pemmican, and it's a favorite plant. You know what I'm going to say. American
It's not American beautyberry, is it?
Yes.
Calicarpa, okay. I've heard it called French mulberry, but never Chinese or anything like that, because it literally is native to North America. Although there is an Asian version, a Chinese version of beautyberry.
Not the same plant. I'm asking about a different plant, the ones with the iridescent lavender.
Okay, I'm really good at what I know, and I'm really good about knowing what I don't know. And I need more data, more info. I need another clue.
Well, I'll say this, because sometimes trying to describe plants over the phone can get a little tricky. We also are able to take your pictures through the Talk to Us feature on the MPB Public Media app, or you can send a picture to garden@mpbonline.org. And we've had a couple weeks ago, we talked about somebody's lawn because they sent in the pictures, and it was able to help Felder get a better picture of what was going on. So I think we're getting a little lost in translation, Mikey. We appreciate you calling, because we always enjoy your calls from Mobile.
And Java, as you know, I don't mind not knowing something, but I'm real frustrated when I know something but I can't figure it out. I just need more data. So that's all it is.
Yeah.
Unlike some other experts, I don't guess. Either I know it or I don't.
And that's what we love about you, Felder. You're not going to try to sell us anything or tell us something that you don't really know or are sure about. So, Mikey, if you could send in those pictures, we appreciate it. But let's go up to let's go to Hattiesburg on the phone and talk to Sydney.
Good morning, Sydney. What's up?
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for taking the call. We have thousands of parasol shoots and about 5 trees, and Roundup did not work on the shoots, and we're calling for advice.
Oh, are you talking about what they call the Chinese parasol tree with the green stems and the great big leaves?
Yeah, that's it, yes.
Yeah, I grow that plant myself, and you're right. They do come up from seed pretty well everywhere. And they have a really deep, even the young seedlings have a real deep taproot. It's hard to get them up. Once they come up, keep in mind that, and by the way, Roundup is not the same thing it used to be. I'd no longer recommend it as garden. I'd recommend looking for a product that has glyphosate. It's safe and it's effective, and there's different brands. Garden centers all carry something that's got glyphosate, but Roundup, not the same thing. They don't really work on mature plants. They don't work well on plants that are hot and dry. The way these products work, they're absorbed only into green tissue and move down to the roots, and it kills the roots, and then the top dies. And this time of year, they're not sending much down the roots, so I would suggest either cutting them off, letting them sprout back out, and spraying that, which is a lot more effective, using less herbicide. Or if you can get some of the product mixed up and take a hatchet or a knife and girdle the tree, make a cut quarter inch, half inch deep all the way around, and pour it immediately into that cut. A lot of times that'll bypass the roots and go straight to the bypass the leaves, go straight to the roots. So make a little. Foresters even have this tool called a hypo hatchet. It's a hatchet with a hollow stem, and when you chop something, it injects a herbicide in the chop. But best thing I would recommend: cut them to the ground, spray the new growth, or else go ahead and girdle them and put the stuff in that fresh cut. And that's what I have to do on the big plants.
And the shoots, we just would also treat with glyphosate, the little shoots, or just cut them?
Now, the little shoots, okay, here's how I grow Chinese parasol seed, because it's a beautiful plant, beautiful slick green bark, great big leaves, grows like an umbrella. What I do is every September or so, before they drop their leaves, I cut mine almost to the ground, and haul them off before those leaves fall everywhere, because it's really hard to rake all those big leaves. They're big, and also that's where the seeds are. They're on they're attached to the leaves. So I cut mine down before they have a chance to drop leaves everywhere and go to seed, but they sprout back out like crazy from the stumps. And if you'll keep cutting on it, it will peter them out. If you cut it low enough where you can just mow over it, that'll help. But the glyphosate is only absorbed in actively growing green tissue. So if it keeps coming up, let the new stuff come up in a couple of 3 days after a good rain, when the stuff is really growing good. Try the glyphosate then.
Okay, thank you so very much. I appreciate it.
All that was easy to say. I'm not saying this, it'll work every time. You got to keep on top of it.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Ooh, they asked me something I knew, Java.
Well, let's see if Ainsley in Slidell got you a question you can answer.
All right. What's going on down across the river down there? What's up?
Well, I have two questions. The main one, I have a fry seedless muscadine, and I went to a thing with Mississippi Department of Agriculture at a muscadine station near Poplarville. You told me about them, had an open house a few years ago, and I went, and so I ordered this thing from Georgia, and I've had it several years, and it's not producing. It says it's self-pollinating. They gave us a chart of different muscadines at this agricultural station.
Right, I've been there. It's outside McLean. Been there.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know how to get back there if my life depended on it. But anyway, it said it was self-pollinating, but it also had something about some kind of acid, and unfortunately, I threw away the chart, so I don't have it. It's the acid starts with a G, like gibberellic or something. I don't know.
Yeah, gibberellic acid, but you don't need that. You don't need that.
So
I was just looking it up. I did not know that fry is self-pollinating. I thought it was a female variety. I don't have time to really look it up, but self-pollinating varieties, usually one plant is all it takes. So you're saying it's not making berries at all?
No, it might have some early in the spring that fall off, like some blooms that fall off, but it's not making berries. And
do you grow this? Do you grow this on like a trellis and prune it every winter?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you leave some stems of the previous year's growth. And keep in mind, I've been growing muscadines since the 1970s. My family had the first winery in the state since Prohibition. Been doing it a long time. And you need to leave little short stubs of the previous year's growth. And what grows off of that, the flowers come out almost immediately on the new growth in the spring, little flower clusters. Again, I'm not good enough to talk and look stuff up at the same time. But if fry is a self-pollinating variety, that should be the end of it. It should make its own berries, assuming that. Well, there's no assuming they're self-fertile. They should have at least some berries. But the gibberellic acid is not used to induce flowering. What it does is it overstimulates it. It messes with flower chromosomes. I don't want to really get into that, but I don't know any commercial growers who use gibberellic acid on their crops. I just don't. It's a useful tool, but it should not be necessary for muscadine production.
Well, I guess I can look up on fry seedless on Google or something and see what it says. But I'm pretty sure that it said it was self-pollinating. Maybe that.
Well, I can do a little bit more. I'm familiar with fry. It's a big old nice bronze. It's a good bronze muscadine. I've taste tested them back when I was studying viticulture at Mississippi State and back in the 70s. But I just don't remember whether it's male or female, and I just don't know what they would be using the gibberellic acid for. It is commonly used by horticulturists, but it shouldn't be necessary to get fruit production. I'm gonna have to do a little research.
There are several fry muscadines. This is fry seedless, and I chose it because I wanted something that was good to eat, and it's supposed to not have a real thick hull and not have seeds. So
well, that's new to me. I mean, I try to go to their field day down at McLean outside Poplarville at least every 3 or 4 years for their research. They have the open house where you can go around and taste them and all that. But and I've actually lectured there, but I just don't. I'm gonna have to learn something here.
Okay. Well, the other, I guess if I can find out when they have the next open house, maybe I can go and maybe somebody will know.
Yeah, or you can write to Dr. Stephan. I forget his first name. Dr. Stephan. If you just go on the Mississippi State website and find the small fruit research station at Poplarville, and you can email him. His email is on there because I've emailed him before.
Yeah, is that the MSU Cares, Felder?
Yeah. And they have an experiment station there. Anyway, he's the small fruit expert, the grape expert. He's a great guy. But anyway, I'm gonna have to learn a little bit more. But probably what I'll do is email him.
Okay. Well, maybe I can find him.
Well, I'll be an expert on this time next week. Actually later this afternoon, but.
All right, Ainsley, hopefully we can we help with that, and reach out to the Extension Service and see if they'll be able to help you. Felder, you bring them up every other show, man, about how the Extension Service is really a resource for things that are happening in your garden.
Well, see, a lot of people may not realize I'm actually a retired extension horticulturist. I mean, that was my profession. I started doing radio back in 1983 as an extension horticulture agent, and so I know all these guys. I also know the resources, and whenever I get stumped, I write to them, and I also send something to Auburn, Texas A&M, University of Georgia, because they all have got good research on southern crops, southern plants, and southern crops. So anyway, I didn't know there was a fry seedless. What it is a grape that doesn't make seed through this thing called parthenocarpy, and I don't want to get too technical. So the best thing for me to do is say, I don't know, but I'll find out. And I'm going to call the extension. I'm going to go directly to Dr. Stephan. Maybe it's Stefan. Anyway.
Well, ponder that during this first break of the hour.
Okay, I'm going to do a little quick research. When we come back, folks, I've got a few little things to chat about. If you're not on the YouTube or MSU Care, mpbonline.org for live streaming, you won't be able to see the pictures, but I got some interesting pictures that I took at a flower show in Lancashire, the largest independent flower show in the United Kingdom. I know the folks well. I lecture there sometimes. Anyway, I got some interesting stuff to show you about how they use our native plants. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on MPB right after this.
At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
Support the programs you love and wear your Mississippi pride on your sleeve, literally with the new merch on the MPB shop. Check out our latest drop with apparel from your favorite TV and radio shows, both current and throwback, featuring fan favorites like Next Stop Mississippi, Southern Dish, Ampton Wired, and more. Every purchase you make supports MPB. Visit mpbonline.org and click the shop button at the top to show your support today.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Okay, welcome back. Java, I just did a quick online research and I did not know that Fry, which is a type of muscadine grapes are native and they come in dark colored ones and bronze colored, light colored and dark, sort of purple or red or light colored. A lot of people call all the bronze muscadines Scuppernong. Scuppernong happens to be the oldest cultivated bronze muscadine. It's sort of like a black Model T Ford, still a black Model T Ford. Before it's got a whole bunch of other black cars now that ain't Model Ts. Anyway, Fry turns out it is a self-fertile muscadine. It will pollinate itself. I'm glad to remember that, to know that. And I did a thing on gibberellic acid and treating the seeds. What that does is it causes mutations in the seeds, and that's how they come up with all sorts of new stuff. Anyway, I went to the site, and as soon as I got to it, my eyes glazed over. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research. Fry, muscadine vine, and gibberellic acid. If you want to dive deep, that's what I'm going to do later. My head's starting to explode, Java.
Well, let's see if Jim from Jackson can give you some relief on this phone call.
Good morning, Jim. How are you?
Hello, Felder. Jim Rosenblatt here with a question about plants wilting. And I have a question of whether it's caused by moisture or heat, because sometimes in the afternoon I'll have some wilted plants, and I'll give them a shot of water, and they cool off during the night, and they look perfectly fine the next morning. So what's the phenomena that takes place there?
Yeah, well, it's a combination of things. Keep in mind, it's so hot at night in the summertime in Mississippi that plants will wilt. That there's a lot of plants that grow in England that could take our winter, but it can't take our summer because they have to cool down at night or they burn themselves up. It's a respiration thing. And when plants lose moisture quicker than they can replace it through their normal, if roots are sucking in water and they're pumping it through all the veins and stuff in the plants, sometimes they can't keep up with the amount that's being evaporated for the leaves. They lose moisture through little holes in the bottom of the leaves. I don't want to get in detail, but they're called hydathodes, just like sweat glands. And if it's really hot and it's really sunny, the leaves will lose more moisture than the plant can physically replace it with. It's a physical thing. Even if there's plenty of water there, some plants big leaf plants will wilt in the day and they perk up at night without any trouble at all. So it's going to be a matter of the heat causing the plants to lose moisture quicker than they normally can supply it in normal weather. So it's a combination. If there's not enough water there, of course it's going to happen and they're going to stay wilted. But even if you water plants, some of them with the big leaves like hydrangeas are going to wilt anyway. And then they'll perk back up at night. It's a defensive thing. When they wilt down, it closes up those little hydathodes, those little sweat glands, so that it sort of keeps their humidity and what they call turgor pressure inside. So hot keeps the pores open, they sweat quicker. When they wilt, that sort of closes those pores up and they don't lose as much water. So it's a defensive thing.
When I'm working outside and start to wilt, I'll go inside and get a big glass of tea and cool off, and that perks me back up.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times I don't realize some plants will wilt during the day as a defensive mechanism, and it's just a way to close up their sweat glands, basically, and they'll perk back up at night. So.
Well, I appreciate that scientific explanation. Best to you, Felder.
Okay, Jim, before you go, I don't want to get into details, but you and I know what you did last week, and I respect you, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, that's very kind of you, Felder.
It's not being kind, it's the truth. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Felder.
Now, that a little thing, he posted something online the other day in defense of some people who needed defending, and I appreciated that. He's a lot of people don't realize he's the dean emeritus of the MC Law School. He was also a high-ranking officer in the military. So anyway, he's good as gold. And you'll find him Java pruning plants out of the Greenwood Cemetery and just wave and stop, thumbs up, and takes your pictures with you. Really good guy. Appreciate his calls.
Oh yeah, Jim. He put in a good word. A couple weeks ago with the Supreme Court justice out there in Louisiana, who called into the show.
Oh yeah, that's right. So anyway, what we got? We got any callers?
Yeah, we got somebody. There we go. We're good to go. We have Rebecca in South Haven, and she wants to talk about her lilies.
Good morning, Rebecca. What's going on up in you're just outside the Delta, but I'll count you as Delta because I'm a Delta person. What's up?
Well, thank you. It is hot and dry. Is all that's going on. Hot and dry.
Yeah.
Look forward to November. But last December, and I know this was not the right month to do it, I reworked my front flower bed and had all these giant bulbs that I decided were naked ladies. And nothing is coming up. I'm thinking either I shouldn't have reworked it in December or I planted them too shallow. Or else they're just not going, sometimes the bulbs just not going to cooperate.
Yeah, you're talking about the pink naked ladies, right?
Yes. I had to say lilies
here's the thing. Here's the thing. What some people call naked ladies is related to the red spider lilies that come up in the fall. Both of these plants grow like daffodils over the winter. They put their roots down in the fall. They put up leaves in the fall. They grow over the winter. The leaves die down in the spring, and then they have a delayed flowering. And if you dug them in December, that was right when they're starting to put up their leaves, their roots and all, and it interrupted their normal growth process. So a lot of times if you dig them a wrong time while they're in growth, they'll skip a year blooming because you know when you dig the roots, that disrupts their ability to feed themselves for a little while. So sometimes just the best time to move them is as soon as the flowers fade before they start really growing in the fall, or else right after the leaves die down in the spring. But if you dig a bulb up like a daffodil or a naked lady while it's actively growing, a lot of times they'll just skip a year blooming.
Okay, so you think I can just take the year off and hope they come up next year?
Yeah. Go to Hobby Lobby and get you some fake flowers to put out there.
Well,
You think I'm kidding? You think I'm kidding?
No, I know. You said it before. I've heard it, and I've got a neighbor. That's exactly what they do. My daughter says, "Why do these flowers always look so good?" They're fake. They're fake flowers.
People would be shocked to find out how many plants in these wonderful flowering baskets and hanging baskets and gardens in England are artificial. They're very realistic. Anyway, no, they when the leaves come up, as long as they're in a place where they get sunshine in the winter and the early spring, their leaves need sunshine. January, February, March, April. If they don't get sunshine, then they still can't make their flower bud. So if you put them in an area that gets sunny that gets shade in the winter, probably want to go ahead and move them one more time real quick.
All right. So how important is it if I plant them deeper? Because I think we were going a little shallow on the plant full.
They'll do fine. As these bulbs grow, they tend to put new bulbs on the base of the old bulbs, and they'll find their own level. You know, if you plant them too shallow, they'll eventually grow new bulbs down to the depth where they want. But they should do fine.
Yeah, I want to let you know I changed my question to lilies because your call screener, when I said naked ladies, they said, could you repeat your question again? I don't think I got that. And I'm like, okay, he may not know.
No, that's just a folk name for it. It's several plants put up the flowers are on stalks without any leaves. They call them naked ladies. It can be off-putting if you're not a southerner, though. Say you got a bunch of naked ladies out in your yard.
Right, and either not a southerner or not a gardener. Yes.
That's right. Anyway, make sure they get sunshine in the winter. If they don't, you can move them now because they haven't started growing their roots yet.
Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. We had to learn Adam, our newest producer. He's on the phones this morning, and I'm pretty sure he will now know what people mean when they call in and talking about the naked ladies in their yard.
That's right. We got to do a tune soon, or we got more calls?
Now let's go ahead and get to our cheesy tune break.
Well, let me set this up. I mentioned we were on a pub crawl the other evening for a birthday, and one of the pubs we went to is named after a local celebrity, a really famous English movie star and singer. Her name was Gracie Fields. Matter of fact, in the 1930s, she was considered the highest paid actress in the world. But she did a lot of singing and all. But one of the songs she did back in 1938 movie was a comedy tune, and it's called the biggest aspidistra in the world. And we need to set this. Aspidistra is a commonly grown plant. It's also called cast iron plant. And in England, they grow it as a container. Anyway, the biggest aspidistra in the world by Gracie Fields. We'll be back with more of the Gestalt Gardener here on MPB right after this.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Together through the years, together in the future. MPB, your stories, our mission.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Folks who are not on the live stream, that was a tune called The Biggest Aspidistra in the World, and it was clean. But anyway, I'm horticulturalist Felder Rushing. And Java, one of the things I did, I know this, we're on Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Our listeners are in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, but I'm broadcasting from my summer home in England right now. I go to a lot of flower shows. Actually, I went to 3 this past week, including one that's the largest independent flower show. That means it's bigger than Chelsea and all like that, but it's not part of the Royal Horticultural Society. But anyway, I want to show just a handful of pictures from there because I think it's interesting perspective, not on what the English do, but what we can do. See if we can get Johnson to put up picture number 8. Just give you an idea. These little gardens are set up on grass. They were not there the week before. This is just plain grass the week before this picture was taken. But what they did is they cut in these little flower beds and fill them up with all sorts of flowers. They put a little arbor, a woven fence, and a bench and all. But I just want you to notice that they use flowers like we use lawns. They just have little strips of grass here and there. But anyway, picture number 9, as one of the exhibitors had a plant, they were selling little small potted plants of this for 30 pounds, and that's about $40. And Java, you've heard of mimosa trees. We talk about mimosas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This is one called summer chocolate mimosa. The leaves are, I don't know my Crayola crayon, Java. I'm going to say that's deep burgundy, or is it purple, or I don't know what color that is.
Yeah, it's in their family. Now it could be I don't want to say deep brown, but a full brown, like it's just
reddish brown.
Yeah, so
but this
brown.
Mimosa tree, the leaves are dark reddish brown, and same kind of flowers and all. It's just to give you an idea that a lot of the plants we call weeds. People who cultivate these plants try to find the best examples. And particularly, let's put up picture number 10. I got 3 more pictures to show from this flower show. Picture number 10 is a little scene they made. It's a little water garden, which, by the way, they just put rocks on top of the ground, put some plastic liner around it, fill it with water, and then cover it up around the edge of the plants. But it's got like a log and all. But every plant in this picture is from Mississippi. It's a Mississippi native plants. But they created the most luscious little small pond looking thing with a log and everything, Mississippi plants. Put up picture number 11. This is a mass planting of 2 of our native plants. This is Black-eyed Susan, Rudbeckia, and the back is cardinal flower, which is Lobelia cardinalis. Lobelia starts blooming about now. It may be blooming now, but I think late August, September, early October. But this is the plant that grows in ditches in Mississippi between the purple, the yellow cone flowers and the red. That's just a mass planting of stuff that just grows in ditches in Mississippi. And then the last 2 pictures, this is really impressive me. Picture number 12 is a flower arrangement in their floral department. Okay. Now this is just, everybody does these little flower arrangements and they judge them. And this has got perennial sunflowers. It's got Joe Pye weed with purple flowers and goldenrod. And this is in a floral arrangement at a fancy English flower show. And I want to show the next picture of that same one just to show what they think about ours. This got first prize in the floral design area. A bouquet got the top prize in this flower show. It is all Mississippi ditchbank weeds because they use them as garden plants instead of wildflowers. And then the last picture I want to show in this little town where we went on this pub crawl, picture number 14. This is a cathedral in the background, but in the foreground, they got mass plantings along the walkways of purple coneflower, which is native to the southeast United States. This is an English-looking scene. They got a nice cathedral. You got the clock tower and all that. But on both sides of the walk, for 150 yards, mass plantings of black-eyed Susans and purple coneflower. And Java, the reason I'm doing this, not to brag on the English, but to say, we can do this. They think it's great. We just think of them as wildflowers instead of as mass-planted garden beauties.
I think it's all about use and perspective.
That's exactly right. The definition, some people say, well, that's just a weed. A weed is any plant having to deal with an unhappy human. And if you put enough of them in one spot with a little fence by it or a bird bath or an urn, it looks downright Chelsea Garden Show-esque. So it ain't what they do or how they do it. It's just, why don't we use our own plants? Anyway, I'm on a rant. Please tell me we got some calls.
No, we don't have any calls right now, but I do want to hop over to the YouTube because we have a nice little discussion. First, want to say good morning to Kim McGee checking in. Ruth has a quick question about best way to save zinnia seeds from my plants.
Ooh, that's at last. At last, somebody asked me something I know.
Excelsior.
Zinnias are, believe it or not, they're in the same family as sunflowers and goldenrod, all like that. When the flowers finish blooming, leave them alone. Let the colorful petals completely dry up, and just shrivel and turn brown. When they're completely brown, if you carefully snip that flower head off, hold it upright, and then take it and put it in a paper bag or a colander and rub it around the tiny little seeds, tiny little seeds, they'll fall out. And an easy way to separate them is to put it in a colander, kitchen colander, and rub it around. The seeds will get through there. But let the flowers dry completely on the plant. And when you cut them off, hold them upright, or else the seeds are all going to fall out. And some people say put them in the refrigerator. There's no need to refrigerate those things. They'll last a few years if you put them in the refrigerator. There's no need at all to put them in the freezer, but they need to be kept cool and dry. So what I do is I put mine in paper envelopes. I get little brown envelopes. I label them and I put them in the paper so they stay dry. And I just keep them in a box indoors in the office. So store them over the winter, cool and dry. And a plastic paper envelope is less likely to cause them to get moldy like plastic would. So there.
All right, Ruth. Hopefully that helps out. We do have another question in the YouTube chat. And if you have one, you can drop it in the YouTube chat. It's from Sal, and it says, I have a question that pertains to tree shedding leaves. They say, I remember reading that some trees can be compartmentalized in the way the roots provide nutrients and moisture to areas of the tree. Is it possible there is something going on in one particular root zone for that tree?
Okay, what I know about good question. What I know about tree physiology is most of the trees do not compartmentalize, but in general, the roots on one side of the tree connected. I don't want to get into xylem and phloem and all these different kinds. Let's just say the tubes that go up and down. There's tubes that send water and nutrients up the tree, and there's tubes that bring food, dissolved nutrients and sugars down the tree. But the roots on one side of the tree generally are connected to tubes on that side of the tree, which are generally connected to limbs on that side of the tree. So if you damage the roots on one side of a tree, it's more likely the limbs on that side of the tree are more likely to die. So if you've got it's up against a house, doesn't have roots on that side, if it's got a driveway, or if they were cut, or you did some construction on one side, anything that damages or restricts your roots on one side of the tree will generally affect, and I'm talking about hardwood trees like oaks and maples and things, not pines, because they swirl everything around. In general, it'll affect so if you've got a tree that's dying on one side, it either has root problem on that side or a trunk problem, maybe a trunk injury, or a mild lightning bolt, anything to fix the trunk or the roots on one side of the tree. Not much you can do about that, though. There's no real treatment for that sort of thing. So anyway, it's a good question, but in general, with hardwood tree, deciduous trees, not conifers, roots and trunks on one side of the tree influence the growth of limbs on that side, just in general.
Now, when Sal says tree shedding leaves, that's just when the leaves just drop off the tree, right? That's not, okay.
Yeah. And when the leaves shed on a tree, they turn colors and they fall off the tree. That's actually a good sign. It just means the tree is having stress. It's sealing those leaves off just like it does in the autumn, and they lose their colors, their chlorophyll, just like in the fall, and they'll shed. If they turn brown and stick on a tree, in general, if the leaves turn brown and stick, that means that they died quickly. And it's more likely that part is dead or dying. That's just my general rule of thumb. If they turn brown and stick, it's dead. If they shed, it's just under a little stress and should do fine next year.
Okay. Well, that goes back to that earlier question where it was talking about the redbud tree, where the leaves turn brown and they were facing the full sun. So
yeah. And related to what Jim Rosenblatt asked also, if you have plants put up close to a driveway or a patio or a house, those things collect heat during the day and they can radiate it out. A driveway and a sidewalk and a house wall can be a lot hotter than the air temperature. And sometimes you can actually kill a plant by having some plants that they do better in the shade. If you have them around a patio, a lot of times that side of the tree is just going to bake because of the radiated heat from the sidewalk or the pavement. So, and by the way, my plant physiology professors are rolling over in their graves hearing how I overgeneralize stuff. But what I do when I learn stuff, I can't remember all the details, so I tend to generalize and put stuff into big bags. So I paint with a broad stroke, and almost anything I say along those lines, I can debate. I'm just trying to interpret stuff so that I can understand it, and then turn it around and put it out into language that my daughter will understand, and she's not interested in plant physiology.
Yeah, and you talked about it when you said you didn't want to get into the what was it? What was the tunnels on the root system?
The xylem and the phloem and all that.
Yeah. Most of they don't want to know about all of that part. They just, what's the answer?
We had to do that in biology in high school. We had to label the parts of a plant cell.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, I don't want to remember which one is the mitochondria and which is the nucleolus. I just know the round things in a plant cell.
Yeah, and people just want to know which spray to spray and which fertilizer to use, and how much water to put down. That's it.
And that's all I want. I mean, I'm a retired horticulturist, and I was pretty good at that, but I'm just not that great a gardener. So I have to interpret stuff and dumb it down for me, because I don't want to get confused about stuff that really doesn't matter. Bottom line is, does it need water or not? So now, have we got any calls?
No, but I do have a question, because we talked about it the past couple of weeks, and we've been on the borderline for planting one more summer crop. Are we done with that, or you just
along the coast? You still probably have time, but it's a little bit late. If you got some tomato or pepper transplants, and put them out now. But we have to look at it. Takes 3 or 4 months. In at least 2.5 or 3 months for something to produce from seed. And, we're almost September, October, November, so we're getting pretty close to fall's first frost. So now's the time to start thinking about broccoli, lettuces, carrots, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, that cool weather stuff, turnips and turnip greens and all like that, kale. It's the time to start thinking about those now.
But we were talking in the office just yesterday about how, we may not get a traditional winter or a real winter sometime until January, or, you can have those shorts on Thanksgiving, but that's still too cool because it's all about the soil, right?
Yeah, it is. And also the late, when do we get our first frost? By the way, I'm expecting a call from a lady from channel, what is it, WLBT. She wants to do an interview with me on plants that we can set out that'll take the kind of weird weather we've got. So I'm going to do a Zoom thing with her. If we got time to show just a handful of pictures of something really, really unusual I've seen here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me grab this book first. There's a guy over here. A lot of people watch this guy named Monty Don. Monty Don is a British guy. He's all about, he's a better Felder in England. And I got his book. He autographed it for me. We got a really, really good quote in here from his book. It's called British Gardens. He talked about how a lovely garden is good, but actually making and gardening with your own hands is better. Having a good garden is good, but gardening is better. He said he loves amateurism. One of the exceptional aspects of gardeners is that there are millions of superb gardeners they don't have a lot of knowledge. They're not horticulturists. Professional depends and often demands a level of respect and decorum to bolster their position, but amateurism confers a freedom through self-deprecation. In other words, you can have fun in your garden and be a better gardener than somebody who just got a good garden that pays somebody to do it. So real quick, let's put up picture number 15. We'll go through this real quick. This is a little hanging basket thing outside the post office in my little village. It's just what they hang on their fences, right? Because of the easy garden. Picture number 16, though, is in New Orleans. These are things that are hanging off of picture number 16. It's just people who don't have gardens, they just live in these apartments and they have hanging baskets just hanging off of their porch. That's all they've got. But so you don't have to live in England, have a nice looking thing. Now, picture number 17 is a green wall. I took that picture yesterday in Liverpool where they plant stuff on the walls. Picture number 18, I just had to show this because this is right across the street from me, Java. This is in England, right across the street from me. Fake plants.
That's all I could, yeah.
The window basket and everything in there is made out of plastic. See, it ain't just a trashy thing. They do it in England, okay? And then the last three pictures, real quick. Picture number 19 is a classic window box like you find outside all the pubs. They have small containers. They have stuff that cascade down. They just mix stuff up. But the last two pictures, and this is the reason I want to share this thing about amateurism. Picture number 20 is down near the police station in my village. This is an apartment building. And it got, four stories. And they got maybe 12 apartments there. And there's nothing on those walls that one gardener has got stuff hanging. You see that window with all the stuff on it?
And I can see the other window with the flowers right inside the building.
Yeah, but they don't have anything else. Anyway, the very last picture, this is the close-up, and I just want to share this because it's so important. This is a hanging basket, a little thing right outside her window, and she has all these plants, and the only sunlight that she owns is all the room she's got, and she takes advantage, so much advantage. She was out watering one day, just leaning out her window, and I was hollering, talking to her, and said, "Love your garden, it looks pretty," and she said, "Oh, thank you." And I said, "What's the biggest challenge?" She said, "I don't really have any challenges, but there's caterpillars on these." I said, "Oh my, caterpillars." She said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you do?" She said, "There's 20 of them, and I've named them all."
Good for her.
She doesn't have a chamber pot size garden, but she has all the space full of just flowers, and she waters them, she talks to them, she fertilizes, she even names the caterpillars. That is living. That is gardening without worrying about what people think. And we can do that. You don't have to live in England. You don't have to have a big garden. Java, you and Crystal, that little garden y'all got up back, we can make that thing a shining gem and doesn't take any time at all. And when I get back, you and I are going to go do some digging.
Oh, yeah. I love sitting out. And I last night with the thunder and lightning I was able to see from my backyard, it was twinkling on the bottle tree. So I was just sitting out, just enjoying myself.
So the bottle tree, the little accessory, has brought a little joy there. Where there wasn't anything else to look at, it gave you a smile.
That's right. That's right.
That's what the whole thing is about, my friend. You know, not everybody's going to be an expert gardener, not everybody's going to have a beautiful garden, but we can do what we want to do. If you can't do anything else, get your little flower vase and go steal some flowers. Go by my yard, steal some flowers, and put them in a vase. No, I take it back. Don't do that because I got cameras that'll catch you. Horticulturalist Felder Rushing. Java, we just bumbled through another 2 hours here on the Gestalt Gardener.
We made it, man. Appreciate you, bro.
All righty. I got stumped on some things. I'm going to learn about them over the week. I'm not going to just say I don't know and move on. I'm going to learn some stuff. If you have a chance, go to a garden center. They're getting loaded up with good stuff for fall. Go to a farmer's market. Pick up a ripe, homegrown tomato and smell it. And take a kid with you. Let them smell that too. Smell it, and it'll change your life. This is what we do, folks. We help each other get dirty. See y'all next week.